It is now 7 p.m., Tuesday, August 22nd, 2023, and I call this meeting of the Board of Education to order. Cindy, would you please call the roll?
Slager,
Present.
Mathis,
Here.
Gilbert,
Here.
Arnolandu,
Here.
Gonzalez Thomas,
Present.
Locke,
Here.
Meadows.
Here. Next, and because I didn't call anyone, I'm going to call on myself. I will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Are there any items to be added or removed from the agenda from any of the board members? Nope. Hearing none, we will move on to our public comments. We welcome to the meeting of the Board of Education. If anyone wishes to address the board this evening, please see our recording secretary to submit a form for addressing the board. Please put your full name and address on the form. In general, the board will not answer questions or engage in dialogue during public comment. This does not mean we do not take your concerns or comments seriously. The board values active community participation in the district's endeavors and encourages people to engage in the district using appropriate channels and systems designed with your input in mind. Board members are not involved in the day-to-day operations of the district and cannot engage in district business individually. If you have specific questions or would like to further engage with the district, you may submit your questions using the link on the website, and the appropriate staff member will communicate with you. Our BPS 101 Communications Manager, Holly Deachman, will now explain any procedures for public comment and call up any if we have any.
Thank you, President Meadows. We do have one public speaker today. It is Alan Knautz. If you'd like to approach the podium, you can begin. Yes, so once you approach the podium, you'll have 3 minutes to speak. I'll put a timer up on the screen so you can monitor yourself throughout the process. If there's anyone else here that would like to submit any comments to us, please put them in writing and you can submit them to Cindy Rodriguez at my right. Speakers should conduct themselves with civility and respect towards others.
Yes, my name is Ellen Knautz, and I live on 707 Houston Street. All three of my children have gone through the school district, going from H.C. Storm to Rotolo to the high school. And on a personal note, this is the first time since we moved to Batavia 19 years ago that we didn't have a child go to school for the first day of school here at the district. The district has served our children well and prepared them for their next journeys. And 19 years has seen 3 superintendents and now 4, so welcome Superintendent Kim. I'm here to speak about the proposed development for the property adjacent to H.C. Storm. Almost every day, students are using that land for recess, gym, and special activities. In fact, I saw gym students today utilizing the land for the proposed development today. The land that BPS, I'm not sure if many people know that the land that BPS owns ends very close to the playgrounds on the south side of H.C. Storm. I don't know the exact number. I'm actually going to ask that at the Committee of the Whole meeting today, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was between 10 and 20 feet. And as I said, that this is a topic for the discussion at the 7 p.m. meeting just downtown. Part of the packet of information that was included for this meeting downtown included a memo from the school district indicating that the school district intends to accept cash payment in lieu of land. And I was hoping that the board might reconsider asking for land as opposed to cash, because it would benefit the students to utilize the space that they've utilized for 19 plus years. The other thing, too, about the memo is that it states that we are confident that this development aligns well with our community's best interests. And I am unclear if community means BPS 101 community, Batavia community, and I also am not clear on what evidence was utilized and what data was utilized to make that statement that the development aligns well with our community's best interests. For example, this development will tear down decades-old trees that are utilized for shade right now by the students when they're at recess and gym. I'm not sure if that's in the best interest of our community. The property line is feet from the playground. I'm not sure if that's best in our community's best interests. I'm not sure if the roadway stub that has been allotted will actually improve traffic. And finally, the driveways and entrances that will occur on Van Nortwick Street, I'm also unsure if that is in our community's best interests. Thank you.
That is the end of our public comment.
Thank you very much. I would like to now invite our BPS partners up. Todd from BEA.
Good evening, everyone. After a great district kickoff last week, the teachers and staff have welcomed back our students and have spent these first few days establishing routines, reviewing procedures, but most importantly, beginning to build relationships and community within our classrooms and in our buildings. To expand on my opening day comments of trust, that is one of the most critical bonds that we are building in our classrooms now. Some of our kids will come in and immediately feel like that they can trust their teacher and the adults in the building, but others are going to come to us more guarded and not quite ready to jump on the trust bus for whatever reasons that may be in their past that makes trust a harder buy-in for them. It's all of our jobs to see each one of our kids for who they are individually and to meet them where they are to help them see through that not only our words, but our actions as well, that they can trust us to help them grow academically, socially, and emotionally this year. There is no precursor to academic success more important than building trust and making sure our kids feel like they belong and that they are seen and heard. That is goal number one for our teachers right now, and that's what we're all committed to doing as our year gets started. Tom, Kim, and I have also been working closely to ensure that our district committees are fully staffed and each one has a BEA member as a co-chair to not only help in planning and facilitating meetings, but to ensure transparency and accountability. We are also looking at our newly created District Coordinating Council that Tom and I will co-chair together and beginning to think about the work and possibilities that this new collaboration structure will bring to help with collaboration, communication, and trust with the BEA and administration. Both committee chairs and the DCC were created in our latest collective bargaining agreement, and we are excited to use these new avenues to help build trust, improve communication, and ensure transparency at all levels. And great thanks to the board for helping to pass that collective bargaining agreement where we have these new avenues. So I wanted to say thank you for that. And I know you guys are probably used to me going on and on a little bit longer, but I'm actually wrapping up right now. So whoa. I know, if you can believe that. And I'm going to totally shift gears a little bit. But just to wrap up, I wanted to put in a little plug here. And this is something that both Sue Locke and I, we sit on a community committee. And I just wanted to put a plug in for the Flag Day Monument. And the ceremonies are going to be coming up in about a month. And I know Sue will have more information to share about this as well. But on September 30th and October 1st, there will be featured events that will be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunities for our community. Because of the connection of Batavia with the creator of Flag Day, Dr. Bernard Segran, the idea for this memorial has now come to fruition, and the dedication weekend looks to be a spectacular celebration for our community. Both the website, which is flagdaymonument.com, and the Flag Day Monument Facebook page have information about the September 30th Gala Dinner event. And it features singer Lee Greenwood, is actually going to be here in Batavia. And, you know, you guys know his famous song, I'm proud to be American, kind of. Coffee Anderson, violinist Rachel Miller, an outstanding gourmet menu. And Sue and I saw the menu last night, and boy, it's going to be worth the price of admission. And actually, you get a first look sneak peek at the monument before it's even dedicated on the next day. And as well, that next day on October 1st, the community celebration of the dedication is a day-long activity down at the river and the Peg Bond Center. So what we need now is this information to permeate throughout the community. Tell your family, tell your friends, your neighbors, all about this upcoming weekend, and visit the website and the Facebook page for more details about this amazing opportunity that's going to be here before we know it, and it really, truly is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for Batavia to come together to celebrate this. It's going to be a worldwide monument. It's going to be really spectacular. So flagdaymonument.com is the website, and the Flag Day Monument Facebook page. So just check those things out. And with that, I am going to check out for tonight. So thank you all very much.
Thanks, Todd. I'd like to invite Laura up from BESPA, please.
Good evening. I am Laura Versillo, and I represent BESPA, which is the Batavia Educational Support Team that includes your paraprofessionals, your secretaries, your maintenance custodians, campus monitors, and kindergarten enrichment teachers. So I am the board's treasurer. So I thought starting tonight and moving forward, I would like to start presenting a series of an inside look deeper into behind the scenes of BESPA employees. By sharing each individual story, also if you want to look, we're gonna be seeing pictures of the person that I'm speaking about tonight. By sharing each individual story, we are highlighting their utmost value as they contribute to a positive and motivating work environment. They do this selflessly and passionately every single day. BESPA are the supporting branches of our educational tree. Today, I would like to share with you BESPA employee Batavia High School night custodian Kyle Brown. His story speaks of resilience, unexpected opportunities, and a journey that took him through twists and turns of life. What's truly remarkable is the dedication and passion that Kyle exhibits. Kyle began his journey at just 18 years old. Today, at the age of 32, he reflects upon his journey, capturing the memories through a collection of photographs as we are showing. A sense of pride emerges as he remembers being the only one to don a blue uniform with a distinctive logo, which was replaced by a maroon uniform and then more uniforms after that. Now, think about when you were in high school. Kyle was a senior in high school pursuing a career path through the building trades program, but suddenly that path vanished. The program was gone. Yet, with this bleak situation, he had two choices: a study hall for credit or an internship. Kyle chose the road less traveled, the path of an internship. Kyle's enthusiasm for the internship led him to become the sole participant. But hurdles did emerge. No local company was available for the internship. However, the Batavia School District Maintenance Department stepped in. They became the guiding light, offering a chance for Kyle to embark on an incredible learning experience. Ooh, I don't know if you want to see that one with the snow, especially with the heat now. Throughout his last semester at the school, Kyle shadowed Greg Bowler, who played a pivotal role in shaping his journey. After graduation, his journey in the professional world began. He was hired at Rotolo, and he spent 6 years there before moving on to Hoover Wood for another 2 years. His experiences were diverse, challenging, and fulfilling. And behind this remarkable journey lies another hidden facet: Kyle's involvement in Batavia ESDA, a role where they contribute to the community's safety by controlling weather warnings, including tornado sirens. So when we hear those, that is part of Kyle's job to do for us. Kyle enjoys chasing storms throughout the nation. He is a collector of Hot Wheels and vintage farm tractors. Kyle also runs his own landscaping business. This story is a celebration of the diverse tasks that come with a role, of finding joy in the mundane, and as being an unsung hero who takes care of the district's athletic fields, ensuring that they flourish. In conclusion, Kyle's story is a testament of the potential that lies within us all. It's a story of turning setbacks into stepping stones, of making the most of the unexpected, and of embracing every twist and turn that life presents. It reminds us that our journeys are unique, and it's a way we navigate through them that truly defines us. Kyle is a very special BESPA member. We are BESPA. We are strong, united behind the scenes. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. Next, I'd like to invite up Leanne and Danielle from BSPN, please.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Danielle Mahoney, and again, this is the second time up here for BSPN. We were here in the fall, and we had to follow all the amazing stories of our celebrating all of our amazing teachers, and now we have amazing staff that we're following up with. So another tough act to follow, I tell you. But I am a parent here in the Batavia School District. I'm also the parent chair for BSPN. It is the Batavia Special Education Parent Network. It's a mouthful. But I am also standing here with these two amazing ladies, and as well as with Carrie Rue, Director of Special Education, but I will let them introduce themselves and their roles.
I'm Leanne Rodriguez. I'm a speech pathologist at the Early Childhood Center.
And I'm Mary Johnston. I'm an ILP teacher at Grace McWayne Elementary.
And my youngest, I have two girls in the school district. Lily is a third grader at HC Storm, that's her home school. And then Penny is now a first grader at Grace McWayne, but she had the privilege of having Mary here as her teacher. And this is what happens when you become a teacher of one of my kids. I suck you into helping. But a little bit about our organization. Like I mentioned, we are here back in the fall, sharing a little bit about who we are and what we do, as well as talking about a resource fair. But BSPN, we are a group of parents, special education teachers, school therapists, administrators within the BPS 101 school district. And we collaborate with the public school system, with Batavia Public Schools, in providing opportunities for our families and our students who have special needs. And I've shared before at a different talk, but individuals with disabilities or special needs are actually the largest minority group, not just in the United States, but the entire world. And yet they have a very small voice and are sometimes forgotten. And as a parent with a child with needs, it can be very isolating and lonely and overwhelming. And so we are so happy to have this group to collaborate with amazing partners with Batavia Batavia Public Schools and the other amazing parents. We are here as a lifeline to talk about what's going on. It could be questions about teachers, next steps, transitioning, opportunities. It could be even as minute as, I'm looking for a dentist that will be able to handle my child who is autistic and can't handle that type of environment. Who do you recommend? We support individuals from early childhood all the way up to 22 when they graduate from the special education program at the high school. So we kind of have a broad range of kids and families that we support, but it's amazing and it's just very fulfilling. So we have a lot of really great events that we have scheduled for the year, with our first one scheduled for Wednesday, September 20th, which should be a familiar date because that happens to be the homecoming parade. And I like to say we strategically decided to do this date, but so you can march down the parade and then march on over to Pale Joey's and join us, parents, administrators, and I invite all of you, board members and parents, guardians, to come hear what we're about, hear what we have planned. We want to hear from you and what you need and what you're looking for and what supports you're looking for. We also have everything from informal coffee chats, some more social fun ones. There might be a beverage of, caffeine or alcohol. It doesn't matter. Maybe later in the evening. But we tap the amazing resources we have here in the district, like individuals like Brian Lindstrom, the Transition Family Support Specialist, sharing information like that. We have a website that we invite you to go and visit for more information or to join our mailing list, and that is bspn-batavia.org. Through there, you can send an email to us. Like I said, you can join our mailing list. We have a Facebook page as well. So please go on there, see what events we have coming up, but wait till the end of the week because I'm still updating it. But we have a lot of great things planned for the year, so.
So our fall big kickoff is this town hall where families come and meet our special education administration. So if any board members that would like to join us, that would be great. And then in February, we have our big resource fair at the high school. And that has been very well attended. Last year, we had, up to 50 different vendors. In the cafeteria, we had a very large attendance by families, not just from Batavia, but pretty much throughout the whole Fox Valley area that came to hear what resources were for their families currently and then also through the summer. So it was a very successful event in February. So you'll also be hearing some things from us at that time too. So, yeah.
So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And then, last but certainly not least, I'd like to invite our student ambassadors up.
Hi, I'm Jeree, and I am a student ambassador from Batavia High School, and I'm a junior.
Hello, I'm also a junior. My name is Zara Ahmad, and I'm a student ambassador. Okay, so first of all, school started off great. We had like a great link group that helped all the freshmen get around. They did a great job on the first day of school guiding all the new freshmen around school. We also had like on orientation day, they had clubs set up, new clubs, so a lot of big lists on that, students getting involved, which is always great to see. So that was a great kickoff to the school year.
Back to school also means welcoming the young ones to a new school year, and for some, even their very first day. And to do this, Batavia Elementary School around Batavia created ice cream gather up and kindergarten tours. And I know Louise White had a welcoming ring the bell first day of school.
And we had a lot of clubs, like I mentioned before. There was a Key Club, which does a lot of volunteering hours. I went to the first meeting today, which was filled, packed to the door. Interact Club also helps with volunteering. Amnesty also had their first meeting today with Human Rights, which is great. Mr. Ray is here as well. And then there was also an ice cream social, Best Buddies, held, which introduced students to introducing new students with special needs. So that was a great event. Had an ice cream, so much fun. There's a picture of Dorit over there. We had a lot of fun there.
Christian Fellowship Club opened up last Thursday morning, and Eco Club and Black Student also started this week. As a member of both of those clubs, I can for sure say that we are excited to have new members, as well as have them help us create new future events.
A lot of sports as well. Football is starting their big practices. I'm sure the next football game is coming up soon. Tennis had their first meet recently, and that was going good.
We also had corn boil that we had a lot of people come. Volleyball is having a great start. I heard they had a game with Aurora. And also cross country started.
That's all, thank you.
Thank you very much. Great job, guys. Thank you. So next is consent agenda. According to our board policy, we designate a portion of the agenda as a consent agenda for those items that usually do not require extensive discussion or board action. These items are generally routine, recurring, and can be grouped together for efficiency. Steve, would you like to share anything before we take action?
Yeah, I can share with you the consent agenda, which I would like to tell you is probably the shortest consent agenda that I can remember in my career.
We can do it in one breath.
Yeah, exactly. Here we go. 4.1 is the approval of our July 25th, 2023 meeting minutes. 4.2 is the personnel report. 4.3 is our payroll and bills. 4.4 is the Chromebook service contract renewal. And 4.5 is the approval of the consent agenda. One breath.
Anyone have any questions?
I do.
Okay.
So going over the invoicing, I have three questions. So we had the alumni golf outing, so I presume, like, I saw that we paid Bliss Creek, but I'm assuming like our sponsors paid us and then we paid them? Is that how that works?
I'm not sure.
Okay. The next thing, under the, it's page 33, the recap of the Harris MasterCard. I just want to know it's like the 1,100 regular programs and then 2210 improvement of instructional assessment. Like, what does those mean?
Those are functions, and so the state of Illinois has what they call, or these used to be called, the Program Accounting Manual. And so they designate different categories, or basically the purpose for which funds are expended, and they designate the numbers that we use to report them.
Can you just give me what's a regular program?
Regular program would be like regular instruction. So anybody who works in K through 5, for example, that would be like a teacher. A teacher's salary would be regular instruction.
And then what about the improvement of instructional assessment? Like what would, like?
That would be something that would be under CNI, so those would, examples of improvement of instruction could be things like assessment or anything that would improve the instructional program, meaning like professional development or other services that would improve services for students.
So would our contractual, like if we consult, our consultants, would they be labeled under that?
They could potentially be, depending on the nature of the consulting work that they do. And all consulting work certainly wouldn't fall there, but depending on the nature of what they provide, they could be, and what department it's related to. Anything in that particular function would be under Brad's purview.
And then the last one is page 64. It's Van Venter Manufacturing Company. It just says principal on short-term debt. What does that mean?
It means that,
Principal.
but sometimes we use language that, you know, like, it seems obscure, but that would be to pay down debt, and so that is the lease for what we call the MFAC, or the maintenance facility, that's on Main Street.
Okay.
And it's a lease to own, so it's considered debt, and so when we finish paying that off, I believe it's either, off the top of my head, it's either next year or the year after, we'll own that building outright.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's all I have. Thanks.
I had, I guess, one question too, more on the process side of when we do these contracts, like with the Chromebook renewal, do we solicit bids, like from different, and this is more than just about the Chromebook, but just in general, when we're renewing contracts, I guess, what's the process there? Do we solicit bids from different companies?
It depends on what we're procuring. In the case of technology, it's exempt from bidding requirements, so we don't seek bids. What we do is seek quotes, and so the board's policy is that we have to seek at least 2 quotes.
Okay.
And ideally 3 before we enter into those purchases. Although in some cases, some technology, depending on what has come before, there might be circumstances where we only do seek 1 because there's only 1 provider in the market. So there are circumstances where we would only have 1. But yeah, we try to seek out the best price. And the reason why technology is exempt from those requirements is because it's very difficult to spec in certain circumstances, as you can imagine. So for example, you want a solution that actually meets your needs, and sometimes you can't necessarily specify that. So under Illinois law, that is exempt from bidding requirements.
And it's just, in certain cases, it's beyond just the price though, right? We're not
Oh,
looking
yeah,
for low
absolutely.
cost. You have criteria that you're looking at that these
Yeah.
suppliers or companies have to meet. Okay.
Yeah, and so if you're not, when you're doing a bid, it's the lowest responsible bidder, and so price basically is the rule, as long as the bid is responsive to the criteria and meets the scope, and that bidder is somebody who is reputable and is able to deliver the product, it would go to the lowest price. If it's exempt from that, then you can use a lot of other criteria, although there are certain restrictions depending on what you're procuring. And so for technology in that particular example, we have a lot more flexibility, but we do seek multiple quotes.
You'll probably see that, like, coming up later on in the fall, when we send stuff out to bid for next year's.
Yeah, anytime we do bids, the board is required to take action and award the bid.
So we'll know who the different
Yep.
candidates were.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll have a list of who responded to the bid and what their prices were. And then we'll do what we call a scope review with the lowest bidder to make sure that their bid and our spec are lined up, that we're getting what we're asking for, and that they're capable of delivering, and that they're a responsible bidder.
And then Craig's responsible
All on my own.
Thank you, Tony.
Any other questions? Good questions, though. Thank you. Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Motion by RJ, second.
Second.
Second by Sue. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next is reports. Tom, is there anything you'd like to share under reports?
The FOIA reports under section 5.1 are presented in the agenda in the packet. Any questions?
I was just wondering about the purchasing records. That seems like a very vague request to me, but it was granted. What did we provide there?
So this is a regular request that we receive from this company, which is Smart Procure. And they want basically everything that we purchased for generally on a quarter basis. And so that's what we provide them, is we do an export from our system for everything that we purchased. And those are public records, and they're entitled to them.
Oh, I'm not saying that. I was just surprised. It caught me by surprise, like everything you've ever purchased. But you know what, I'm catching now the dates, so they quarter it off for you?
Yeah, it's generally about 4 times a year that
Okay.
we see that. And so that's a regular request.
When I first read it, I thought it said up to April of 2023.
From ever
Like
to-
forever, and I was like, how?
That would be an
Time did you spend
unreasonable.
doing this?
That's what
That
we
would be the
call
response.
unduly burdensome.
Right, that's why I was surprised it was granted, so, okay.
It always just seems so grand.
Anyone else on the FOIA reports? No? Anything else, Tony? Tony,
Nope.
on the treasurer reports?
No, they are there. One thing that I think is interesting that the board doesn't typically see is the investment report, because we actually have investments. So, and I'm very excited about that, and we'll talk more about that in a little bit.
All right, and then your favorite part, Tony? Public hearing on the 2024
Yeah,
budget.
I guess I'm next, so we'll talk about that pretty much now. So, we do have to hold a public hearing on the budget each year, and that's what the purpose of this agenda item is this evening. We'll also talk about the interfund transfers that are part of the budget. So I'm going to give a brief description of what's in the budget and the mechanics of the interfund transfers, and then anybody who's here this evening will have an opportunity to address the board and ask questions. And then we'll conclude the meeting, and that will suffice for our obligations for the public hearing. And then, in terms of timeline, we shared with the board a tentative budget in July. This month, we're doing the public hearing, and then next month, we'll do the adoption. So there will still be some changes to this budget over the course of the next month. It won't change dramatically at this point, but it will change before we adopt it in its final form in September. If you wouldn't mind, Holly? Thank you. The budget is always available at the same link each year, bps101.net/budget. It's where the most recent budget is available. And there's 2 files that are available in public. There's the budget form, which is what we put on, that's the formal official budget document that we place on display and that we submit to the state board and to the county. That's the board's official budget. But we also produce what we call this budget summary, which parses that budget up into a format that is hopefully a little bit more digestible than just the raw numbers and the codes like you were asking earlier, Raquel. You know, like, all those codes are in that budget form, and that's how we figure out which line to put those numbers on, is by following the kind of the rules of that program accounting manual that the state has devised. Overall, we expect a surplus of $2.2 million. That's a little bit lower than the last time you saw this budget. It was $2.4 million last time. And we expect that with that surplus, our ending fund balance will be some $60 million, and that will bring us to a revenue to fund balance ratio of about 52%. Now recall, when I first became the CSBO, the Chief School Business Official for the board, that number was well below 25%. And so we would have to borrow money each year so that we could make payroll. And we have come a long way since then. We've been very fortunate that we've been able to improve our finances to this degree. And luckily, we're able to invest some of that money now and actually put that money to work for us. We still need the money, and it's not just kind of sitting around. We're able to invest it and earn interest on that money. We only receive payments twice a year, essentially, because we're so heavily reliant on property taxes. We receive the vast majority of our money each year in June and September. But after those dates, there's not a whole lot of money moving into the district's coffers. And so in years past, actually for well over 30 years, as best I can tell, the board had to issue what are called tax anticipation warrants, kind of payday loans, essentially. And we would borrow that money, have to pay interest on it, so we could make payroll and pay our bills until the taxes flowed in. And luckily, we don't have to do that anymore. It's a pretty big deal.
I think we're the only ones over here that remember that. I don't think they know.
I wasn't even in.
It's a new development, yeah.
That wasn't even when I
Yeah.
started. It was before that it got, let's say, corrected.
Hard. Tony worked very hard on that, so.
We did, and it's a major accomplishment. Because historically, we would actually, it's kind of a waste of money to borrow money to pay interest on it just to make payroll. And anyway, overall revenues increased by 3.1% to $137 million, so we're approaching almost $140 million. Evidence-based funding, that's the kind of the general state aid money that comes from the state of Illinois. That's expected to remain level at $5.6 million. We're what we're considered to be Tier 4 on the evidence-based funding formula, so that according to the state's math, we exceed the target or the adequacy level, the targeted amount of money on a per-student basis. And so the new money that we're receiving from the state of Illinois is an additional $5,000, quite literally.
You're running to the bank with it, aren't you?
Running to the bank with it, an additional $5,000. So I'm going to call 5,000 level. We'll just call that close enough to level, even though it's just a little bit more. Other state reimbursements are what we call categoricals for special education and for transportation, and so a few others are increasing by 1.3% to $3.2 million. And so overall, just to note, our revenues are increasing by 3.1%. Meanwhile, our expenditures are expected to increase by 5.3%. So it's a good thing we have a surplus. We have to be careful making sure that we remain, like, as I like to say, on the glide path so that we can keep our expenditures in check with our revenues. Major pressure on expenditures this year is, of course, salaries and benefits and purchase services. Given inflation, we have a new teacher's contract. We've also had, one reason why expenditures are increasing for salaries as much as they appear to be is because we have several vacancies for support staff that went unfilled in the prior year. We budgeted for them, we didn't fill them, and so now, since we didn't actually spend that money in the prior year, it looks like a bigger increase. Also for benefits, benefits did go up from the last time you saw it, went up by, I think, probably close to $500,000. And so we've got some more adjustments to make on employee benefits between now and when we finalize this budget in September. We've got some work to do in terms of staffing. We also have $500,000 in contingency in this budget in case there's anything that we couldn't anticipate.
So Tony, on the contingency, you don't adjust that contingency, that's just held for it. So like when we saw the bump up, since the last budget or adjusted, you're not flexing that number to hold numbers, you just, that's your pure unforeseens.
Yeah, those are pure, I don't flex that, no, I don't flex the number unless, If there was a higher degree of uncertainty, you know, I might, but generally I
Okay.
don't. No, it's not a number I play with, but it's certainly a number that we use in case something comes up unexpected. You know, we have a little bit of cushion. When I first started, in the first year that I was the business manager, we didn't have any contingency because we literally couldn't afford it. And our surplus was $250,000, and that's when, you know, you really have to make sure that the budget is working. But anyway, we've gotten past that, so we're in a better position now. Staffing we expect to increase by 7.3%, and this is where I believe the budget will move between now and September. So the 7.3, not percent, excuse me, 7.3 FTE or full-time equivalents. That number could go up and it could go down between now and September. We've got some work to do in terms of where things will finally land before we adopt the budget. Meanwhile, our student enrollment is expected to decline by 2.2%. We'll also know more here in another month of what our actual student enrollment is. Still a little early yet. I mean, it's, well, week into school, and you know, students are showing up, but there are some who may have, you know, their life circumstances may have changed, and they might have registered and might not intend on coming back, but they haven't let us know that yet. So we'll finalize those numbers here in the next few weeks. So that will bring our pupil to staff ratio down from 7.9 to 7.7, which is excellent. That number has gone down dramatically in recent years.
Is that all staff?
Yeah, that's all staff, yes. Deeper in the budget, you'll find the numbers for licensed staff. That's a high-level overview of the budget. One thing I would note is that we are investing that fund balance as aggressively as we can. Certainly not putting the principal at risk. You know, we invest in CDs and treasuries, things that we're most assured to get our money back. They're all insured, those investments. And that will generate, we expect, about $2.2 million this year. And that's just a pure coincidence. And so things have changed in terms of what we expect in terms of revenues and expenditures, but we've landed on this number of 2.2 million. It's pure coincidence, but that's the surplus. That's also what we happen to be investing these funds upon, in terms of what we expect in terms of interest. And if we weren't able to invest those funds, we would not have a balanced budget. And there's a good chance we'd be talking about program cuts, laying off staff, and the like. And so while we're doing well financially, it's kind of on a razor's edge. We have to be prudent in how we manage our finances. Because investing those funds in the long term are not likely to continue. I mean, there's probably another year or two where we'll be able to invest those funds and make some returns on them that are reasonable, but, you know, that, I don't know that will continue in the long term.
You can't invest that long term, right? Because we need it available.
Money has to keep, yeah, we keep rolling it over, but, you know, as the market changes, the investment rates will change as well, too. So,
Tony, on the population, student population, can you comment on, are we seeing increases at the lower grade levels, like kindergarten, first grade?
are we seeing increases? No, we're seeing about the number of students show up as we expect in our enrollment forecast. And that number is going down relative to classes that are graduating because the birth rate is just that much different in the intervening years since. So, for example, we graduated 500-plus students this year, right? No?
The year before.
48. It was the year before.
530.
Yeah.
That was the largest class
That was the big
in the
one.
history of Batavia. wasn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah, I think that was like I don't remember off the top of my head, but it was like 550 or something like that, wasn't it?
Joanne, like 480.
Where's Joanne? There's Joanne, she's hiding. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but the incoming kindergartners are about 350 plus, a little bit more than that. So the reason isn't because people are leaving town. The reason is because the birth rate has declined that much over a 12-year period.
I just have a question though. Do you think when we have to go to full-time kindergarten, like I know we have there's only one school that offers that right now? But we have to go to full-time, was it next year and do you think that will increase?
No, because we offer a full-day experience for any parent that wants it. It's not with one kindergarten teacher, but most of our kindergarten students are at our buildings all day long. I think there's a total of maybe 12 families that choose the half-day only option.
Across all buildings in the district.
across all buildings.
And Brad, that's about 97-98%, right, of our kindergarten enrollment?
Are here all day with us.
Then, Holly, if you go back to the inter-fund transfers on the previous page. So to make this budget work, we're transferring money for various reasons, yes. And so one of our obligations, and according to that kind of the rules, that program accounting manual that I was talking about earlier, is that we have to pay all long-term debt out of our debt service fund. And that debt service fund only gets revenue based off of the bonds that the community members pay taxes on. So other debt, like capital leases, in this case, the $56,000, we lease our activity buses. We have to move that money from the education fund into the debt service fund to pay the bills for for those leases. But there isn't natural revenue in that fund to pay those bills, so we have to make a transfer. We're moving $1.8 million from the education fund to capital projects to pay for capital projects. The big projects that we're paying for this year are the improvements to Alice Gustafson School and J.B. Nelson School for their secure vestibules, and also for the middle school for its kitchen renovations. And it's taken us a couple years worth of saving essentially to be able to afford those projects, because it doesn't fit naturally. The size of the cost doesn't fit naturally into our budget. Also, we're transferring $144,000 from the O&M fund, operation and maintenance, to debt service. And that, by the way, Raquel, matches the amount of money that you were looking at for that payment. That's that Van Deventer payment.
Okay.
That's for that. That's also a lease, so that's long-term debt that we're paying for the same reasons why we're paying the activity buses. And then the balance is, $3 million from O&M to capital projects, again, for those projects. So we kind of use the capital projects fund as kind of like a piggy bank. So a lot of the capital projects that we need to undertake just far exceed our capacity to undertake in a given fiscal year. So we put money into that fund, and then we spend money out of that fund as we can afford to take on those projects. The other issue is that sometimes we don't know exactly when we're going to have to pay those bills, because most of those projects take place during the summer. Some of the bills show up in June, before the fiscal year ends. A lot of the bills show up after June. And so it's really tricky in terms of timing to be able to know exactly when the bill is going to hit. And in the old days, especially when we only had a margin of $250,000 in our budget, that bill hit in the wrong time. Either you had a green number or a red number, and it was really hard to tell which. And so that's why one of the other reasons why we use the capital projects fund for that purpose. And I'd be happy to answer any other questions that you might have.
Any questions?
I have one.
Sure.
And I know it's not on here because I think we get reimbursed, but the ESSER fund, when does it, we have to be, I know it's in phases, so is one phase coming, I think, phase 2 is coming to the end?
Phase 3 is within a year of the end.
Want to explain what ESSER fund is?
Certainly. ESSER, I don't remember what it stands for. We use acronyms around here so much that you forget what they mean, yeah. I don't remember what ESSER stands for. But it was federal pandemic relief money, and there were 3 phases. The first phase was the immediate phase where we were dealing with lockdown and we were buying cleaning supplies and those sorts of things. We spent that money in 2020, and we spent it very quickly because it wasn't very much. Then the second phase came, and if memory serves, it was about $1.2 or $1.4 million, something on that magnitude, and we spent that on capital projects, particularly for HVAC. Yes, we had projects for high school and middle school.
And the money kind of
Yeah,
came from heaven to.
it helped us, and so then we could spend other money on other capital improvements. But the reason why that worked well is those HVAC upgrades also helped with ventilation and moving air inside the buildings for that reduce some of the COVID load. And then the third phase came, and that was in excess of $2 million, and we're still in the process of spending that. 15% of that had to go toward basically alleviating learning loss, and Brad can tell you more about it. And that's basically what we have left to spend, is dealing with that. Some of our plans have changed over the years. We have to finish spending all that money by September of '24. So we've got one more year. But it's a kind of a money in, money out thing. It's not like they just give us the cash and we
Right.
hold on to it.
We have to show them, they get reimbursed, basically.
Exactly.
I was just curious, like, so, okay, so we still have a year. I didn't know if, anything with our budget was something that we could put from the ESSER fund, like if there was something in, like you just said the HVAC. So I didn't know if there was anything else.
Our philosophy on the ESSER funds has been, we tried to alleviate the capital needs that we've been kind of putting off. Historically, to get through the Great Recession, we stopped investing in capital projects because we literally couldn't afford to do it. And so we've built that back over time, and our money for those capital projects have gone a little further because we've had this ESSER money.
I have one
go
comment,
ahead.
just so, for me to summarize it, and I wanna thank Dr. Inglese, because he spent a little time walking me through this document, but my big takeaways for the community on this budget is, one, we're living within our means, we're paying our bills, we wanna thank the local taxpayers, because that's where the bulk of our revenue comes from. The bulk of our investment, our budget is going into our people, so we are investing in our people. And while we are living within our means, it is nice to know that we have a little wiggle room. So if something unanticipated does happen, we're not gonna have to immediately borrow money. So, anything else you wanna add on a big picture level?
That's the gist of it. There's a lot there to digest, and if anybody has any questions or thoughts or things that come up after the fact, I actually enjoy talking about this, and so I'm happy to sit down with you and walk you through it, whether it's a board member or a community member, anybody. We want to make
I
sure.
had to be like, I gotta go, Tony, you wanna keep going.
Yeah.
He means it.
I enjoy it.
He really means it. He enjoys this.
I think he's got his own coffee pot in his office, though, so that explains
Yeah.
some things. All right, my only question on it, just to kind of be clear about the capital projects plans, those are anticipated transfers. They're not for some unforeseen conditions or anything else. You can kind of quote-unquote park the money in the education fund or in the O&M fund to be able to move over to capital projects at some point for expenditures. Is that correct?
This is what we can afford to move. And so, one thing I should add is that historically, all of our transfers to capital projects have been from O&M.
Right.
And this is the first time that we're drawing some of that money from the education fund. And the reason being is because we don't have any more cash left in the O&M fund to get to the level that we need to get to get all the money that we need into the capital projects.
Bit off pretty significant and required and necessary projects this
Yeah.
past year coming.
Yeah, well, yeah, and so like what we've increased what we're putting toward this because of the magnitude of some of the work that we have to
That's right.
undertake.
Yeah.
For example, like AGS and JVN.
Yep. Okay.
And there just isn't enough cash on the O&M fund to fund all of it this year.
Okay.
I have a question, but it's not, a little bit, but did we have an update on the capital projects? Did everything get completed? Like, I know last one we had pictures, but we don't have any pictures.
Yeah, we were talking about doing an update about that, and what we'd like to do is, we'd like you to see it, because it's pretty cool. And so we're trying to figure out how we can make that happen. There's odds and ends, of course, that need to be taken care of as typical punch list items. And it's like flashing around some of the awnings outside the door isn't, it looks a little funny when you look at it right now, but it'll be taken care of here in the next week or two. But nothing that would preclude us from using the building. Other example would be like the signs that are in place, the monument signs don't actually have the name of the school on them yet, but they will be.
Katie Nelson's was installed today, I think.
Was it? I didn't, oh, that's great. So these are the kinds of things that are happening now, but nothing that precludes us from using the space. But it's really nice to have, I mean, it feels better and it makes more sense. It's nice to have spaces that just fit kind of our needs, our kind of like modern needs for schools. It's kind of one of those things like you don't know how bad it is until you see how it really could work well. And so it's very refreshing. We're very pleased with how things turned out. We've got some more work to do though.
Were we talking about doing board tours or building tours or?
We'll figure out something. Well, but it's.
Years ago, pre-pandemic or something, the board used to have, like building tours, like once a especially after major construction or something like that. And we'd take the activity bus and we'd all go see the high school and what they'd done over there, and then go to the middle school, and then go to AGS, and just travel around all the schools. And it was very difficult, burdensome to some of the principals, I think, sometimes, but it was really informative for us to see, like, when they had major construction and get to see all at once, you know, so hopefully something like that can be worked out. But
Mark Anderson was an excellent driver as well.
yes, it's always fun on those buses.
Do we have to go on that bus?
Yes, you have to.
Does it have air conditioning?
It
Yes,
does.
It does.
Yes.
Would you say it was difficult getting everybody?
Well, it is, 'cause it's like during the day. And then we have to deal with RJ on the bus. So. There's always
Not
the
yet.
one.
Part of the thing would be that that's under official business of the board, so we would
Yeah.
need to do a board
You
meeting
have to have his
agenda
meeting.
with a
It's-
schedule to the public so they know where the board will be at roughly approximate times, so that if the public wanted to participate in that, they have a right to do that, so.
I think the last one was the one right before I became appointed to the board, and I wasn't appointed yet, and they're like, oh, we're doing this, do you wanna come along as a member of the
come? Did you
public?
go
So I
then?
did, but I don't think I got to ride on the activity bus, so
Well.
I'm a little bummed that I'm not sure I knew there was one.
But then we like had lunch at the high school, or we're told.
Yeah, we were hitting the projects that year, so it was a good trip. Okay.
So is there anybody from the public that would wish to address the board?
Hearing none.
I was kind of hoping there'd be at least one.
Just one. Don't take silence for not caring, take it for you did a good job, Tony.
Will do.
All right,
So excited.
thank you. Anything we need to do as far as that meeting or the closing or doing nothing, right? Okay. All right.
Historically, we've done, like the board opens the meeting and the board closes. it.
Yeah.
As long as we give folks an opportunity to address the board, we're okay.
Okay, opportunity had. All right, staff and board comments, administration comments, is there anything you'd like to share for the administration?
Sure. So tonight marks, actually at the conclusion of our board meeting tonight, will mark my 53rd day on the job. And I just wanted to provide the board a few updates. Beginning with, when I started on July 1st, there were some large overall objectives I wanted to make sure the first several months were something I was gonna see through as your new superintendent. So after 53 days, I was reviewing this and it looks like that roadmap of goals is being completed or on the path towards completion. One of them being initially us as a board and superintendent team. We were able to get together and do some of our mandatory training requirements, but also be able to establish some ideas as to how we'd like to work together as a team and as teammates to support each other, which I also want to say thank you to everybody who continues to want to reach out and talk and ask questions. I continue to encourage that. Want to make sure you as a board are always informed of everything that we're doing in this district for our students. Secondly, one of the big ideas, and Todd, we're like becoming this great partnership of speakers here. You did this to me on Monday last week. But as Todd has alluded to already, about a little bit about trust. One of the things that we also talked about during my course of my hiring, and now as I've been through the district for almost 2 months, is the idea of making sure that we as a district continue to build on the trust we have with our community and our stakeholders, both inside the district and outside of our district. And so through this time, it's been great. I've been able to meet with groups of students, BEA leadership and BEA members, BESPA leadership and BESPA members, our entire administration, which we also had time to work together at a retreat during July and get ready to launch the school year in August. Officials from the city and the mayor's office, police leader, our police chief, our fire chief, the Chamber of Commerce leadership, our library leaders, park district leaders, Beefy, Chip In, United Way, the Batavia Ministerial Association, and the Batavia Women's Club. I am probably leaving some other groups out there, stakeholders that we've met and connected with, and we're starting to round out the rest that we need to make sure we're connected to. But it goes back to some of the questions I've been asked when people say, how's your transition? And one of the things you have probably heard me say is, it's been an amazing early journey. There's so much support for this school district. It is so clear from inside our organization and outside of our organization. People love and care about our district and our students. And so for me, again, one of those things that as we continue to progress, I am just really thrilled and excited about. Holly's been instrumental in helping me make sure that I'm getting connected to the right people and arranging that along with Cindy. So I want to give them kudos and gratitude for that. Also, this has been an opportunity for me to continue to learn and understand our why as a district, why we are here as educators, what we value and care about when we do our teaching and learning with our students. And so that's something that is not done yet. That is a continuing process throughout the course of this year. But it's one that's definitely been on its, I'm gonna use Tony's word, glide path. So as alluded to, we started the school year last week. We welcomed staff Monday and then brought students in on Wednesday. It was a super exciting time. I was kind of getting sick of sitting in the office and just looking at all our colleagues, and I think we wanted to see that energy and feel right about why we're here, and that definitely hit the soul on Wednesday, seeing all of our kids, seeing some criers separating from moms and dads, and I think some of the parents were also crying in their cars. When I was walking to the next building, getting my car to get to the next building, I did notice someone crying, and I checked on her. She was like laughing because I caught her crying. That was sweet. But it's just been a phenomenal opportunity to see how we open schools, the collaboration that's been going on. And so again, coming back to the idea of trust, and as Todd's alluded to, we have great work ahead of us, and I'm looking forward to that opportunity. Special thanks as we went through opening the schools to our building and operations teams and our technology department as well. They were instrumental, as you can all imagine, leading into the week. Everything just gets ramped up even more. It's already busy, but it gets even more ramped up. You know, our O&M teams are trying to prepare the building openings while, you know, some of the delays that might have happened over the summer were out of their hands because of supply shortage, you know, late delivery on supplies or certain things that the construction groups couldn't get to until they received the right stuff. Our teams responded very quickly and proactively in assisting everybody to get their rooms ready, get the buildings ready and open. They looked phenomenal. From a technology standpoint, just to give you an idea, just on opening week alone, our tech team handled over 460 tickets, opened and closed on 1 week on that team, while they were also still hustling to finish pulling all the wires in our buildings and setting up Chromebooks and opening up email accounts. We had over 71 new staff accounts opened up since July. And, you know, so there's a lot of data that I talked to Dave about, and I just found it to be really impressive, and knowing what Mark's been doing and hearing our updates about the district, just really impressive. Last thing, the Corn Boil was an amazing opportunity to see our community in action, coming together at the high school, but representing not just current parents, but, I mean, there were community members there. I thought that was an amazing event. Got a chance to hang out with some of you, and that was awesome. And just looking forward to a great year. Speaking of the great year, final comment is board we'll be talking a little bit about our April regular board meeting. There was a late summer legislative change that will require us to move our regular board meeting up and have it conducted prior to April 15th. And that is a statutory regulation due to the timing of when we handle our SB 7 reduction in force board meeting every year, the annual meeting that happens. So we don't need to make that decision tonight, but I'm just throwing that out there so you're aware. So 2 proposals I'll throw out there. Could be one of the first Tuesdays before April 15th. Okay. So other than that, it's been awesome. Thank you for your support, and that's all I got.
All right. Any board comments? Anyone would like to start at that end? You look like you're chopping at the bit, Aaron, so.
No, I'm gonna wait my turn.
Sue, got any?
I just was gonna talk about Flag Day, but Todd did such an awesome job. I've been working on that, with that committee for over 7 years now to help build that monument, so I would encourage anyone who's around on October 1st to join us downtown to celebrate the opening of the monument. Flag Day Monument, I should know that. FlagDayMonument.com is the website. And I believe later on this week, they will be having a pull-down tab where you can donate $17.77, which is the year that the Flag Day was originated. And they're trying to get people to donate in the name of the school that you went to or you're affiliated with. So if my kids went to AGS, I could donate $17.77 in the name of AGS. If your kids go to Hoover, wherever. So I would encourage you maybe to do that, and it will go towards purchasing a brick in the name of AGS. And if you'd like to purchase a family brick with your name on it, and I got to see mine last night, I was very excited. I purchased it 7 years ago, finally got to see it, so you might enjoy that. Also, I was very excited last week on the first day of school. I got to go to Batavia High School first thing in the morning. So I saw seniors, freshmen, can always tell the difference. Then I went over to Storm, met some students and parents over there. Then I joined Tom over at Louise White. It's not my school that I'm a liaison to, but I have a close connection. I think I've gone over there so many years to see Dr. Skomer, and all the kids ring the bell. It is a wonderful tradition. And it was Dr. Skomer's first year. So I wanted to be there for him when he did that. And it was just a wonderful experience. And so I just had a great time. So hope everybody has a great year. And thank you, Tony. You're doing a great job, because I do remember those years when we had to borrow all that money. So enjoy the fact that you don't have to be on the board when we're borrowing all that money. So, thank you.
Danielle?
Craig?
I don't have anything to add to you.
I'm sorry to,
Uh-oh.
I'm so sorry.
It's fine.
You wanna-
Go
I
ahead.
think we overlooked,
Committee updates. Yeah, I'll get that, I'll add that right after we get done with the
Okay.
comments.
Well, I would have updated if I had any, so.
Are we updating during this time? or-
I'll go back around for committee
Okay.
updates.
I don't have anything to add on top of you guys. That's amazing. Congratulations to getting started this year. And it sounds like it's been a really energetic and positive start. I heard a lot about opening day. I wasn't able to go, but the staff, like that I heard from, were just like, we're just so excited. And I mean, it's really cool to hear. I think staff, community, just everyone all together just excited for what we have in store for this year. And just to back off of your gratitude for everyone who got us through the first week and all the hard work that's laying ahead. So just looking forward to the year and working together. But yeah, thanks. Thank you.
I want to thank, first of all, everyone who attended the meeting tonight from the community or our BPS partners, or who emailed or just reaches out to us when we're out in the community. Again, I say it every meeting, but it's very important. It's vital to the work we do, so I appreciate that. I do want to welcome all our new teachers. I was at the kickoff on staff, and I think we had 38 new teachers, which is a big number for us, so we're excited about that. We're excited to see a lot of familiar faces. And of course, I want to welcome all the students back to instruction. I always kind of amazes me the energy, the anxiety maybe on that first day, and then after about 3 or 4 days, everybody gets in a groove and we're off rolling, so that's exciting. I do want to recognize 2 people. I won't mention their names. Well, we'll mention one. At that kickoff for the staff, there was 2 students that spoke, one from representing Rotolo, one from the high school. One was Zara, who's one of our student ambassadors, and I just have to say that, you know, our kids are just so impressive. I mean, I'm 50 and I would have been nervous giving that presentation, and they knocked it out of the park. So, you know, I'm just constantly amazed at what our kids do. I also want to say that, you know, I attended a lot of events as a kickoff, and what's really exciting is that students are the focus of everything we're doing. And I'm just really excited about what we're going to be able to accomplish this year. And then I'm going to be a little bit of a broken record, but again, getting to opening day and having it go smoothly is a lot of work. And so I want to thank Holly for getting the word out. And then I also want to thank 3 people specifically: Director of Operations Mark Anderson, Facility Manager Rob Schmidt, and Director of Information Services David Thurlby. They were grinding. I mean, I saw Mark Anderson making sure the buses were running on time that first or second day. So outstanding work on their part. And then finally, I just want to compliment the Superintendent Kim, I mean, you listed off about 20 organizations you met with. I mean, I swear to God, I bumped into probably 4 times last week. I think one time I got coffee, and you made it for me. You were there. You're so present in the community. But that's what we need to do. I mean, as we said earlier, trust is based off relationships, and you're doing that work. And I know that you have kids that are also starting school, and so you're putting in the hours. I know that's time away from your family. Yeah, and it's appreciated and recognized, so thank you for that.
I just want to say welcome back to all the kids, administrators, teachers, support staff. Yeah, and just thanks to everyone who made that first day go as smoothly as possible in the whole first week. And it's my hope that we just have a great, healthy, and happy, and productive school year.
Rob?
As everyone else, welcome back to the teachers, students, and parents as well. Wish everyone a very successful school year. I had the opportunity to go to AGS on Wednesday for their opening day, and I'm going to use a word I think I've heard a couple times already, but it was very energizing to be there on that first day, seeing the kids, and being a few years removed from having kids in elementary school setting. It's just something so pure about seeing those kids arrive at school, especially those that are there for the first time, and getting ready for instruction. I shout out to Principal Kristen Stevens at AGS. Just did an awesome job handling that day, and some of the issues that came up even prior to Wednesday. I went the Friday before, and she gave me a tour of the school and showed me all the improvements. Tony was mentioning some of them at AGS, and it's just amazing. And I'll continue to beat the drum that we need to have those improvements at all our schools. It can't just be at AGS and J.B. Nelson. We need to continue trying to come up with a plan to work towards making our schools more secure, more safe, and a better learning environment for the students.
RJ?
I was at, my daughter is in 6th grade, so I was very jealous of my daughter when we went to the move-in day at Rotolo, and I saw Tom there, and I think I met your kids, right? Did I meet your children?
No, I was helping other
Where
people.
am I thinking I was? Oh, maybe you were talking to someone else's kids. I swear I met your children somewhere. No? But it was amazing. We all talk about it. We know how great the school system is, but I don't know if my wife and I were more nervous than my daughter, possibly. And when we couldn't get her locker unlocked, it was just, it was crazy. And there was 3 or 4 other kids that were all like, I'll help you. And it did turn out it was just the wrong combination. But there was so many people that were willing to help, just with such a simple task. But my daughter told me that the first day of school, she was helping other kids open up their lockers, and so she was enjoying it. And we went through that first day of her leaving on the bus, and my wife and I were hiding behind a bush down there about a block away. She saw us. She was fine with it, but it's so, it's so emotional and makes you so nervous. And I think I know you're all involved in just every little thing that makes it that much better. So it was really a proud day for me to be part of the district. So thank you all, to everyone that's involved with making it happen. Thank you for putting all the effort you've been putting in lately as well. So that's it.
I'll save my comment to the end, but let's do the committee updates, and since you.
Can I just say one thing?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I want to thank everybody for thinking, but I want to make it really clear. I have amazing teammates that allow me to do that. Everything that the people in this building and at MFAC are doing is what allows me to get out there and do that. So I want to say thank you to my teammates that are here in this room, and then the teammates that are not here tonight, but the principals, the rest of the administration. It doesn't happen without them. Sorry.
No, all
I didn't
good
mean to
point.
cut you off. Sorry.
No, and since RJ pointed out, you get to start committee updates, so I hope you have one.
I have no committee. I want to hear some, though.
Rob, do you have one?
I do not have one, but I have a question. So I have not heard about any of my committee's meetings. Is that
They go a little slow
something-
during the summer.
Something
so-
communicated through an email or something?
Yeah, you're getting an invite soon.
Okay.
It'll happen. Before I jump, does anybody have a committee update?
I wasn't part of it, but Plaque did me.
Okay.
I wasn't able to go. They had a retreat, in August 3rd. So I'm just going off of their agenda, but it sounds like they really kind of hit on from their April meeting, which focused on like, how do we measure the impact on student learning and discussions around that. Again, I can't really speak to it because I wasn't there, but, I mean, based on this, and they talked about, kind of went over their reflection and review from September of 2022, the, what do you call it, God, when my gosh, you know, when the teacher,
Institute Day?
Thank you, Institute Day. So they kind of reflected on what was the feedback, and again, I can't speak to what the content of it is, but that's what I got. So I will be there in September, so I'll have a better update.
Okay.
I did have a question of Danielle, so the equity meeting, the equity group didn't have a chance to meet yet?
I need, not to my knowledge, and I plan on reaching out.
That was the only reason I even brought up the committee updates. I was hoping there was gonna be something for that group.
I'll let you know as soon as that's.
And there will be committee invitations and updates. As you've heard, Todd and I have some of those major committees that we're working on together, making sure we have the right people there and get the representation. And then we're gonna be kicking off all our invitations.
Okay. Sue, did you have anything?
Nope.
I do not have a committee update. The people that I work with on the Capital Projects Committee were very, very busy making sure that schools opened and kids showed up and everything else. So I fully understand why we did not. My only comments are, this is the first year of many, many, many years where I did not have a kid going to Batavia School District. And so I appreciate Tom and Holly helping me record a little bit of a message for the teachers. I hoped it looked slightly better than I thought I left it. So, and that I'm kind of beginning to realize, particularly with my youngest one, how well we do to kind of prepare them for school, and that as a reminder to parents that sometimes when your children leave, they're better than you thought they were, and to tell the teachers that, and the staff and everybody that supports them, that they did a great job, and that Riley is doing an amazing social emotional learning experience to manage my wife's and my emotional behaviors. So he's doing a fantastic camp counselor report every couple hours as he goes to classes and things like that. So I appreciate the teachers and everybody else for helping him understand that. That is very helpful. So, and with that, just finally, I know the immense amount of work, because in my profession, I have been working kind of nonstop with schools that are beginning to open, and the custodians and the building foremen and people like Mark and superintendents and teachers, and all the effort that goes in to get that done. I see it firsthand, and the tension and the angst about that, and then somehow miracles happen, and the first day is amazing. So I hope it was for everybody else, and look forward to a great year. Thank you. All right. So today we will be adjourning to a closed session for the following reasons, and buckle up, I got a lot to read. The closed session is for the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees, specific individuals who serve as independent contractors in a park, recreational, educational setting, or specific volunteers of a public body or legal counsel for the public body, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee, a specific individual who serves as an independent contractor in a park, recreational, or educational setting, or a volunteer or public body, or against legal counsel for a public body to determine the validity. That's the first period, by the way. However, a meeting to consider the increase of compensation of a specific employee in a public body is subject to the Local Government Wage Increase Transparency Act and may not be closed and shall be open to the public and posted and held in accordance with this act, 5 ILCS 120/2C1. And for security procedures, school building safety, security, and the use of personnel and equipment to respond to an actual, a threatened, or a reasonably potential danger to the safety of employees, students, staff, and the public body pursuant to 5 ILCS 122C8. So, do I hear a motion to go into, oh, did I get that? Oh, yeah, I hear a motion to move into closed session.
So moved.
Sue,
Second.
motion by Sue, second by Raquel. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So moved. We will be going into closed session. I don't believe we've got any actions after this meeting, so you can stay around if you want, but you won't be watching anything entertaining when we get back. Thank you, everybody.